So I just got back from the gym, and it's time to see if the San Antonio Spurs have worked out a deal. I I don't know why you guys subscribe. Seriously, you guys are psychopaths. You're crazy.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so we got some order of business to get through. Okay, we got a few things to go through. Some updates here and some opinions, nonetheless. So before we get into all this juicy content, subscribe to Spurs Invasion. But you guys have already subscribed. 3K, 3,000. My God. Thank you guys for showing so much love to the new channel. Like I said, this channel in particular is going to be edited content, which is scripted edited content. So let me know what you think. You know, just head on over there, watch the newest video I have up, link below underneath this video in the description box, and I'll drop it in the comments as well if I remember. Yeah, all right. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into this. So this is from the Monty show. Shout out to Spurs reporter for
here's the other part of this
reposting it. So let's go ahead and see what the Monty show has to say. He has some insight, or at least some thoughts, when it pertains to the Warriors trying to acquire Lauri Markkanen.
Because here's the other part of this equation that I think a lot of people don't understand. Lauri Markkanen is eligible for a contract extension August 6th. And on the surface, you would say, well, it's a sign and trade deal. Not so fast. If the Utah Jazz extend Lauri Markkanen, they cannot trade him for 6 months. And I think the other part of this conversation that is so complex is how much money is Lauri Markkanen willing to leave on the table in an extension scenario with a team, I don't know, the Golden State Warriors, that he would be traded to. Because if you trade him, one of the things you have to remember is he's on an expiring deal. He is eligible for an extension, and the model here would be to renegotiate his deal and then extend him so that he would be able to earn the most money possible. By some accounts and by sourcing yesterday, I was told that if he is traded and renegotiates, Golden State would not be able to pay him nearly as much as he would get from the Jazz. It's about a $7 to $9 million difference. I think that is significant. Is Lauri Markkanen willing to forfeit $7 to $9 million to play not in Utah, but to play in San Francisco for the Golden State Warriors? Jake, I think that is the most pertinent question on the table.
That's a good question. And if he's not, then yeah, the Golden State Warriors are just not going to sign him. Because more than likely what's going to happen is, you know, you're going to need some type of agreement with him that he does want to extend out, that this isn't going to just stop after this 1 year contract. But the only thing I've been saying over the last few days is I think the Spurs should definitely use that leverage, right? Use that against the Jazz the best that they can. So when people are saying like, oh no, let's just go ahead and trade Sochan, let's trade Devin Vassell. Well, I don't think a lot of people saying trade Devin Vassell, but it's a lot saying Sochan. I'm not on the table I don't think that should be on the table. And the reason being is because he only has a year left in his contract. So you can kind of use that against them. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on. I mean, that was the whole reason the Spurs wanted to get rid of, or one of the reasons they wanted to get rid of DeJounte Murray when they did. You don't want him to be on his last contract. All right, so Spurs reporter also put this together. This is more so just an opinionated piece from Jeff. You see, we got Jeff Mcdonald and Jeff Garcia, but we'll just look at what Jeff Mcdonald basically had to say, because there's nothing really here from, you see, sportscaster Nate Ryan. So he says it didn't work in Charlotte or OKC, but playing for Coach Pop would take away any pressure, spot up, catch and shoot, set an example for young wings. Yeah. But Jeff McDonald says, if no deal for Markkanen can be reached, expect the Spurs to continue to look for incremental ways to improve the roster throughout what is left of free agency, which we all agree with that. And then he continues to write, it is no secret that the Spurs are in the market to upgrade their perimeter shooting with sharpshooters such as Buddy Hield, Gary Trent, Beasley, Gary Harris remaining on the market. For now, very few other members of the Spurs media have actually weighed in, but those who have appear to be discussing the opportunity facing the Spurs to land Lauri Markkanen, even if it means giving up Devin Vassell in a trade. So it could be very well that that's what the Jazz want. because they want their roster to get better. And if the Spurs can convince them that Keldon Johnson will make you better along with a few picks, I mean, that's cool to me. That's cool to me if they can convince that. But it seems like the Jazz are, man, they taking their sweet time. Maybe they're smart. They're pretty smart. They're pretty smart. Okay. And Devin Vassell, I wouldn't do it. Me personally, I wouldn't do it. I think I don't really even have to explain why I wouldn't give away Devin Vassell. I think everybody, it's very easy to say and point to and say, no. He's part of the future. At least you feel like he's part of the future and 3-point shooting wing. Like, we don't want to just get rid of that. But I feel like Sochan one is a little bit more nuanced, in which I'm constantly feeling as if I have to defend why to keep Sochan, because everybody's opinion, before we get into the next bit of update, everybody's opinion on Sochan is, oh well, not everybody, but you get what I'm saying. Oh, he can't shoot. Why keep him around? He can't shoot. He doesn't have a shot. And it's like, well, he's been improving his shot, okay? Ever since college, he's been improving it. You can look at his 3-point shooting that has increased from a 24% to 30%, and it was better than that before February. Before February, he was averaging about 37%. Through February, it got to 35%, and then after that, he had an abysmal last few games, last couple months of basketball, where his legs weren't necessarily underneath him. It started getting in his head. He's not a pure shooter. He never really was one. So he started to struggle, fatigue and all of that. And that brought down his percentage down to 30%. But people forget that he was actually shooting very well throughout the season. So that's kind of frustrating, but whatever. Let's just ignore the fact that he has high defensive IQ. Let's ignore the versatility that he has. Let's ignore his playmaking for his size. Let's ignore the rebounding. Let's ignore the high motor that he has. Let's ignore the cutting ability that he has, effective cutting in certain angles. Ignore the way that he read defenses. Just ignore all of it. He can't shoot. Is he worth anything? I think that's pretty disingenuous and pretty bad, because this game is a little bit more nuanced than some of the other players on our team. He is a good defender. I know some people will say he's not, but I mean, the stats are on our side there. All right, moving on. Sorry, kind of floundered a little bit. Let's see here. So the Kings, this is the last bit of news. The Kings, Spurs, and Warriors all have significant trade offers on the table to the Utah Jazz for Lauri Markkanen. Utah is mulling over these packages as they decide whether they will ultimately move Markkanen or not. So now we're just playing the waiting game, okay? We're just playing the waiting game, in which, everyone got their trades in. I guess this is set in stone, in which the Spurs like, look, this is what we're willing to give you. Nothing more, nothing less. Are you willing to take it? And yeah, I guess it does come down also to Lauri, right? Because I'm just going to make the assumption that if they're getting ready to get a trade popping, that he has to also agree that he wants to go to those teams, not because they can't trade him anyway, but because these teams in particular probably aren't going to take him unless he is willing to sign an extension there. So if he's like, I don't want to go to the Kings, or I don't want to go to the Warriors, then that's a wrap. He's just not going to get traded. But if he say, hey, I want to go to the Spurs, play with that Wemby fella, then they might have to sit back and consider just trade him directly to San Antonio. So we'll see what happens. But it seems as if everything's on the table and we're just sitting back waiting on what the outcome will be. So those are the updates thus far. That's all we really got. If you guys want to support the channel, please like this video, subscribe, leave a comment. And what's even more important is support this channel, man. It's a little channel, little bitty channel we just created, little bitty channel. I mean, I know this is a small channel too, but it's a little bitty channel. But yeah, go support that. I'll give it to you guys later. And if any updates pop up, I'm at least here for the next few days. So I'll make sure to talk about it. Till next time, bye.